Welcome, Dreadies. Dirty immigrant here. What a guan. You know, I have been doing a lot of thinking lately, about, the state of culture in this world. Specifically, in this instance, the question of race, you know. Uh, like, for instance, we have Barack Obama, the new, or well, not the new, but the first black president. Okay? Now, then we have Ted Cruz. He's running. Ted Cruz. He's got a Hispanic name, has Hispanic roots. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is this, okay? When a black man or a black woman has a child with a white person, that child is considered black. Now, when a Hispanic person has a child with a white person, that child is considered white. And I know you hear here and there, those people might mention the Hispanic roots and stuff a little bit, but nobody calls them Hispanic per se. They're just presumed white. And it got me to thinking. I mean, there's a lot of race mixing going on, all over the world. And that's attributed to communications are getting better, people are being able to talk to each other, and all of that stuff. So, now, let's say, for instance, if an Asian person marry a white person, is that person considered Asian or white? No, I'm going by this culture mainly because I don't know, let's say in China, how they are looked at. It's quite possible that they are going to be looked at differently because it seems like every race want to be a pure race to some degree. But what would they be considered? Would they be considered Asian? Would they be considered white? I have some friends that are mixed, Asian and white, but that never seemed to come up. Now they look Asian, so me being an immigrant, I guess I would look at them as mixed, just mixed. But in a culture where the differentiation is important, how would it be looked at? I'm not sure. I've never heard anybody talk about that. Now let's take it a step further. What if a Hispanic person marry an Asian person? Is that person Asian? Is that person Hispanic? Or does it depend on which culture they live in? If they live in a Hispanic culture, will they be considered Asian? If they live in an Asian culture, will they be considered Hispanic? Just to differentiate. You know how people like to differentiate? Like we say, one drop of blood of black in a person makes them black. Well, is it dependent on the dominant race in that culture? Let's say Japanese. Do they consider the person black or Japanese? Now, which is an interesting case because lately or recently, there was a case in Japan where Miss Japan is part black and part Japanese. And the people, some people, weren't very pleased because she didn't actually look like them. So they wanted how she could represent them. So I guess maybe there they would consider her black and not Asian. Or maybe some people consider just mixed. You know what I mean? Now, you could take all the different races, Native Americans and stuff, and I know there's a lot of mixed here, but very few people consider themselves Asian American unless they want to feel like the victim. I've noticed that if you say something to them, you say, well, I know it's you could say that because I'm 1.8% you minus this, that. Native American. You know what I mean? But the dominant race, or the dominant culture, I should say, not so much the race, the dominant culture is a white culture. You know what I mean? So I guess people would want to identify more with who the dominant culture is. But when it comes to like a mixture of black and white, just relegate them to the black culture. You know what I mean? And then thus call them black. Uh, no, here's another one. I was talking to a friend of mine. So, well, actually, it's the co-host to my radio show. We was having a conversation about this, and we both have encountered instances where people have not considered Hispanic people Hispanic because they're white or they look white. Like, okay, for instance, where I was working at a call center, there was this girl and there was a guy there, and he was saying he's Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? No, I could tell, I could see the Hispanic in him a little bit. But for somebody who isn't used to that difference, she couldn't see, she just saw him as white. And the argument was that he couldn't be Hispanic because he's white. This was our argument. And I mean, we were trying to tell her, yes, he is Hispanic, you know what I mean? But there's light-skinned Hispanic people, or white Hispanic people, and black Hispanic people. Because the reason for that is because down in South America, it was the Spanish that colonized, the Spanish Europeans. 90% of them look white, or maybe a less number. I'm just throwing out a number there, but generally speaking, they look white. You know, and they colonized these areas, and it was a mixture with the native tribes there. You know what I mean? And I think there's an emphasis on Mexicans, because Mexicans are mixed. You know what I mean? And some of them aren't exactly mixed either. They're just on native tribes who speak Spanish because they were colonized by the Spanish. Now, if they doesn't look like that, people don't consider them Hispanic. And that goes back to the Ted Cruz thing. No, he does not exactly look Hispanic. He's come from Cuba. His family is from Cuba, of course. You know, Cuba have a myriad of races there. No, why isn't he Hispanic? Why everybody just see him as a white guy? No, I thought about something else funny on top of that. Okay, and it's just a way of laughing at the stupidity of the human race. Now, let's say, in this modern age, and especially within this culture to a certain degree, the most vilified races are the black race, because now you have the Black Lives Matter, the issues with the police, people claiming discrimination, all of that going on. So the most vilified for some people, and I've spoken to a lot of people who see it that way, is the black race. Then, the other vilified race are the Arabs. And that's because they figure all Arabs are Muslims, so then, let's take care of them. So what would happen if an Arab has a child with a black person? Which I know happens because, in their region, it would happen. But I've never really encountered that here as of yet. It probably is, I just haven't encountered it. What would that child be considered? Arabic? Or African descent? Or black? Arabic or black? Now, in the realm of science, it says two negatives make a positive. So, if and bringing it into the cultural realm now, since these are the two negative races, and the two, most vilified races, if they come together and have a child, would that child be a super race? Because two negatives make a positive. I probably need to go find me an Arabic woman with some babies real soon, breed out the new super race. I'm making light of the situation, but think about it. You know what I mean? The operative word in everything there is race. And there's one word that describes all of us, and that's human. And we all call it the human race. So maybe, just maybe, it's just humans. You know what I mean? Just because you mix a little, if we weren't all humans, we wouldn't be able to mix and have healthy offsprings. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at it this way. If you have sex with your cousin, your child is most likely to be not normal. If you have sex with your cousin. So if you have sex with somebody outside your race completely, perfect child. No defects won't come from that. Well, give or take a percentage or so, I guess. But just think about it, you know what I mean? We are so dwelling on the races that we're not dwelling on the fact that it's human beings. And the reason for that is because it's easy to control people if you segregate them into different races. It's easy to manipulate somebody of your own race to do what you want and to do stuff against others who is different from them. It's as simple as that. That's the simplest way to put it, at least. So maybe we just go, hey, we're all humans, and like I said, it's hard to do because we want to follow somebody, and everybody's scared to follow one person if the person is different from them. But we're all humans, and that's the whole point of this year. But it's a nice little question there, you know what I mean? Is people called? Is a black person called a person of white and black parents called black because of the dominant or the dominant culture within this society? You know, what would the Japanese call somebody like that? I didn't see anything on the BBC clip I see about the Japanese lady who was Miss Japan and was mixed black and Japanese. I didn't see what they call them anything. Of course, they probably wouldn't put that on there, but think about it. And while you're thinking about it, also think of them and see them as human beings. Anyway, that's all for now, one thing. And hope you guys enjoying these new wave up videos. Remember, comment in the bottom. Tell me what you think. If you're Japanese, if you're Arab, if you're Native American, it's their names that they call them. And I don't care if it's considered racist or whatever. It's good to bring it out to light so we could deal with it. You know what I mean? In the bottom, I'll put my Facebook in the comment section or the description section. I'll put my Facebook and my Twitter. You know, you could contact me and things like that. Soon I'll have an email address there. So keep watching. There's more videos to come. And remember, if you're going to swag in peace. See you next time.